So what if everyone in the Marvel Universe had a superpower? That is the sort of what if story that Earth X, the comic book graphic novel, is there to answer basically, or answer in one which way. There are some follow-ups to this, but you can see it's quite a chunky graphic novel. But this is the full story edition. You can get it and it's not too expensive. I don't believe you'll be able to find it on eBay and whatnot. It has some follow-ups called Marvel's X and Paradise X. Some of them are sequels, some of them are prequels. But this is the original one that was written around the turn of the 21st century. And they got the writer Alex Ross to basically come up with a sort of dystopian version of what if everyone in the Marvel Universe had powers, and therefore it's commonplace that you have people running around like Spider-Man or Captain America or Thor. How the event occurs, I won't give away straight away because you're not told straight away and it would be a little bit of a spoiler, but I can tell you that the characters that are involved, you can see even just in the front cover here, some of them are similar to the characters you know, but a little bit different. For example, the Captain America that you have is an older Captain America. The Spider-Man character is actually Spider-Man's daughter, and Peter Parker is going older because this is a few decades in the future. Thor is changed into a woman. That doesn't really change her powers too much. It involves Daredevil and Hulk, who is split into the two bodies. So like the body of Hulk and then the mind of Bruce Banner is in a child who like controls the Hulk's body. How all this happens is explained and it gives a few pretty cool what ifs. But I would say this was slightly inferior artwork because I'm not that big a fan of the artwork, to be honest. Is a bit like a bigger, more encompassing MCU version of Old Man Logan, or the Logan film, if you will. The story is definitely more adult focused than the general Marvel comics that are put out there. I'm not a big fan of a lot of Marvel comics, to be honest. I think Old Man Logan is one of the few that I actually like, and this one is one of them. I didn't like the following prequels and sequels that came out, but this one I have kept for a long time. Even though the artwork isn't that great, the story was just so good. It involves a bit of a prologue with Ratu the Watcher and like a sort of android sentient being called X-51, and they sort of act as your narrator throughout and explain how this happened, that this sort of celestial overlords like controlled it to be this way to avoid certain catastrophes, etc, etc. But most of the book is spent on this version of Earth with all of these characters. It brings a lot of characters in Marvel that you might not have seen in the movies to try and fit a lot of it in, and it does, but it's got plenty of time to do that. There's a fair amount of dialogue in there, and I really loved how like logical the book was about things. It's talking about what is good and bad, what is right and wrong, etc, etc, because a lot of the heroes focus on, I'm going to do the right thing, but what is the right thing? Is saving this person at the expense of this person's life the right thing, and so on and so forth, within the context of the Marvel Universe where you have all these characters but they're given different situations. For example, Thor being a woman, an older Captain America, Reed Richards who takes on the role of Doctor Doom. I won't tell you why, but he does that at a certain point. So it gives a lot of interesting what ifs, not just as like the whole what would happen if everyone had powers, but also what happens to the heroes that are already there in the MCU that everyone knows, but also what would happen to the characters that we know from the MCU films in this world, which is a really interesting concept to me, and I enjoyed it all the way through. There's a few things out there that have interesting what ifs, like for example, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, for example. That'd be kind of interesting to watch or to read, but I don't think the comic was that good. This comic lives up to the hype that I built up in my own mind before getting it. In terms of the formats, I imagine you'll be able to get the individual issues, but you can get the whole trade paperback together. The price of it will be listed here. I would say it's worth that price. I've kept it for a good number of years. And who's this for? It definitely doesn't have to be for Marvel fans. I'm not a big Marvel fan, like I said, but I just like good comic books. I like them when you can get the whole story like in one. You don't have to get like multiple trade paperbacks on top of each other. And it's been around for a while, but also hasn't really been like touched upon that much. I believe in one of the Into the Spider-Verse films, they brought in like a character from this universe, but they've really not done anything with it on like the big screen or the silver screen. I think if you had to do it, you'd probably have to do a TV show on this rather than a film. There's just so much CGI and so much to like fit in. I don't think you'd be able to do it justice in a film, even if you did do that. Plus it's all encompassed within its own universe. It's not modern day, it is set in a dystopian future. So it kind of has to be separate. If you actually want to read a Marvel What If graphic novel, then this is definitely one to check out. If you can deal with kind of artwork, the writing definitely makes up for it. So go read it.